Welcome to the BIM Hunter Hive podcast, where you listen to interesting fictional stories from aspiring authors for your listening pleasure and relaxation.
Deborah's Confession, written by Deborah and read by the author. Introduction. Deborah's Confession is a fiction of three beautiful ladies who had become inseparable after being friends for almost a decade. They were very ambitious, intelligent, and had a genuine passion for the things of God. Having successfully graduated from the university and had a few months until the commencement of their NYC program, the trio decided to take conscious steps to keep the passion for God burning. They joined a vibrant youth ministry and also became active members of its workforce. However, things took another turn when they began getting overwhelmed by life's demands and entangled in their personal desires. They soon realized they were drifting away from the initial sincere relationship they had with their Maker and resolved to retrace their steps back to Him. But before they got to that point, two of the friends who had lived in self-criticism due to the perceived perfect nature of their third friend got a startling confession from her. What were they experiencing during this process, and what were their struggles? All this and more are captured in this wonderful book. Do enjoy your reading. Chapter 3. Beep! Ada's phone sounded. She picked it up to read the text message that came in. I need to quickly attend to an urgent call at the estate. What's wrong? Debbie asked, concerned. No big deal. A neighbor's friend had just sprained her ankle and she's in serious pain. Urgent attention needed. More grace to your elbow, dear, Tinu encouraged her. Don't forget to attend the Bible study on Tuesday, Ada said after sipping her remaining drink. She breezed away. Tinu, where are you going from here? My sister's fashion store. She should be preparing the clothes for the day by now. It's almost 5 p.m. dear. You don't mean it, Debbie exclaimed in surprise. They both stood up and settled their bills with the cashier before they set out to their respective destinations. Their passion for positive contributions and their strong aversion for idleness had made the three friends pick up different unpaid employments during the 4 months break before their NYC program. Debbie became her parents' personal assistant. She prepared her father's lecture presentations on a regular basis. This has been a source of relief for his tedious and tight schedules, and he treasured her for this. Debbie, you are just the best, he would say after scrutinizing her work and certifying them accurately. Mrs. Smith was not left out of this charitable gesture. She had her lesson note neatly prepared with optimum professionalism. Although she sometimes hid the magnitude of relief this brought to her, she had never taken it for granted. Tinu had mastered her sister's trade without any ounce of uncertainty. She was a capable and resourceful hand to her sister's business. For Ada, bringing help to humanity had always been a thing she desired earnestly. Having seen and learned some skills from her mother, Mrs. Nwuso, it was not surprising she decided to be a first aider, someone who gives first aid treatment to an injured or ill person. Her area of focus was the Majulagwe estate. It was on one of her fateful outings she had met Sister Betty, who had come out for evangelism. Sister Betty had handed her a handbill, inviting Ada to her church. I will love it if you can keep it a date with us, she said to Ada after an hour of preaching the gospel to her. We are a youth ministry dedicated to spreading the gospel of Christ to all humanity and causing a powerful revival movement on the face of the earth, she said enthusiastically. Her words were imbued with great religious zeal, and this inspired Ada. Written boldly on the handbill was the name of the church, the Youth Evangelical and Revival Ministry. Details of their weekly meetings were also inscribed on it. Ada carefully folded it and kept it in her purse. Joining a youth ministry was a welcome idea to Ada. What is typical of a youth ministry is the vibrancy and liveliness of its members, and Ada could not take that lightly. We hope to see you on Sunday. She had a nice set of white teeth and a beautifully adorned her bare, oblong face. She was dark-skinned and could pass for a model. I will give it a thought, Ada assured her. Hey ladies, look at what I have here. Ada said to her friend on one of those occasions they hung out. She looked so excited at what she was about to unravel. "What is that?" Tinu asked eagerly as she peeped to see what it was. Ada handed the paper over to Debbie. "The Youth Evangelical and Revival Ministry," Debbie read aloud. She exchanged a glance with Ada and then Tinu. Tinu collected the handbill from Debbie and scanned it through. "Where did you get this from?" Tinu asked, fixing her gaze at Ada. "Don't worry about that, Tinu. The question is, what do you think about making this place our regular place of worship? Sounds good, right?" That won't be a bad idea at all," Debbie said thoughtfully. "Seemed very cool to me. I'm already choked up by the boredom in that church." Tinu complained about our present place of worship. "This is where we need to be right now. A place we can freely express our usefulness in service to God," Debbie added. "This perfectly suits us," Ada said, smiling. "Service on 3 weekdays. Tuesday, Bible study. Friday, evangelism and special programs. And Sunday service proper. Isn't this perfect?" Ada giggled as she read from the leaflet in her hand. "Yes, it perfectly fits into our daily routine and the geographical location is right as well," Debbie buttressed. Thank you," he said as the clap subsided. "The next person I will introduce to you now is Sister Debbie. She joined the Prayer Champion workforce today. Please let's give her a warm welcome." The claps resounded again as she stood up from her seat. She looked very shy and embarrassed by the attention showered on her. She tried hard to raise her head and stared into the thin hair while avoiding making eye contact with the audience. "I really appreciate the warm welcome from you all. I'm deeply honored. My name is Deborah, as rightly said by the prayer coordinator. I joined the church last Tuesday and I'm willing to be of service to God." She paused, looked around, and said, "Thank you," as she brought the speech to an abrupt close. Everybody looked expectantly at her, waiting for her to say more. Then she suddenly sat down in a chair while keeping her face bowed to the ground. Deborah was a young, shy, petite lady with a nicely shaped figure. She was more of an introverted personality. She had always taken cover from the company of her friends whenever she had the cause to be in the public. The prayer coordinator came to the rescue by giving the first clap that irritated the dead silence in the room. Then others followed suit. They contributed their claps in turns and cheered to celebrate the first-timers' welcome. "We will now bring this meeting to a close as all our first-timers have been introduced. Let's bow our heads for prayers," Bayo said in a low baritone voice. Bayo was a dedicated member of the Prayer Champion team before he was elected as prayer coordinator. He has always been known for his fervency, spirituality, and care for his co-workers. Although very handsome, he never placed emphasis on his looks, but rather always made his relationship with God his center of focus. The meeting ended and all members greeted and chatted with one another as they dispersed. Debbie and Arthur joined their respective departments the same week they joined the church. "Tinu, how was the service on Tuesday?" Ada asked excitedly on that cozy Saturday afternoon. "Great!" Tinu replied while meticulously sorting her clothes from her wardrobe. "I enjoyed every bit of the moment. Where is Debbie?" Tinu asked Ada as she turned to look around the room. "She's here, of course," Ada replied hesitatingly while tapping Debbie, who was quietly curled up beside her on the bed. Ada was a very lively lady. She had an amiable personality which made her always fun to be with. She had been the soul of the friendship and usually spiced up their meetings with gossip and petty talks. Tinu, on the other hand, was a very fashionable lady who took pride in her looks. She was dark-skinned, pretty, and had nicely placed dimples on her cheeks that made her look stand out amongst her peers. What was common with the three friends, however, was her intelligence, ambition, and a passion for the things of God. The three had been friends since their late teenage years and since remained very close. "I'm here, Tinu, just a little wrapped in my thoughts," Debbie said. "Debbie, you're always enwrapped in your thoughts." You and your thoughts," Tinu taunted. Debbie smiled and slowly dragged herself into a sitting position. She rested her back on the wall and fixed her gaze on Tinu, who was too busy arranging her clothes. Ada turned to Debbie and asked if she enjoyed the church's Bible study on Tuesday, and she replied in the affirmative. "I think I like the church. The members are quite warm and receptive," Debbie added assertively. "I don't agree less with you on that," Tinu said, alluding to Debbie's notion. "I love the royal welcome given to the first-timers. I felt like a queen." Ada chuckled and took a deep breath. She appeared to be enjoying every bit of the discussion and was obviously not going to allow any of it slip away. She also had more to say about the discussion. Ladies, that makes it 3 of us. In fact, I will join another department in church's workforce for more service to God, Ada reinforced. Well, if that's a good reason for you to make that decision, then go ahead, whatever floats your boat. As for me, Tino, it's not only joining the church and the workforce that matters to me. I will also make sure I leverage every opportunity that comes my way as I get involved. How do you mean, Tino? Debbie asked, a bit confused at what Tino said. Debbie, I will make good use of every opportunity that comes my way and maximize my potential. Well said, Tino. As for me, Ada, you both know that I'm very adventurous. I will make sure I yield myself to the tides of the wind for a nice flight. In other words, I will enjoy every bit of the moment and situation as they come. Life is too short for it not to be enjoyed. Ada chuckled as she spewed out her words in delight. Having said all, ladies, let's not forget that the utmost goal and purpose in life is to serve God and not Mammon, Debbie admonished. Debbie, we know, but it doesn't rule out the fact that we need to enjoy ourselves to the fullest by serving God. Thank you, Ada, Tino said sharply, cutting Ada short. It's not a sin to have and pursue your goals and ambition while serving God. Look at the Bible attests to it. Debbie, loosen up. Don't take things too seriously, Tino advised. Okay, ladies, I don't mean to condemn you nor discredit your ideas. All I'm saying is that we should not lose track of our purpose while trying to run our own race in life. You know I trust you, ladies, and I've always held you close to my heart. I trust your judgments, Debbie said in a milder tone to douse the tense atmosphere a bit. We know your intentions are right, Debbie, and you are just concerned for us. Who doesn't know you can worry for Africa? We understand your stance as well, and we'll definitely take your advice, Tino said assuredly to Debbie, while taking a glance at Ada to be sure they agreed. She could see Ada nodding her head in approval. Although Tino is yet to join the department, I think our decision to join the workforce is the best we have made in our service to God so far. Other things can come after, Ada said. So ladies, what are we munching for lunch? Debbie asked. Mama Brenda's jollof fries on my mind, oh, Ada replies as she licked her lips in excitement. Mama Brenda's place will be the best place for us to go after this wonderful discussion. Can we go already? I'm salivating, Tino added. Not today again, Deborah replied, giving her and Tino a stern look. It was finally Sunday morning and everyone solemnly prepared for the early morning Sunday service in their respective churches. This will be the first Sunday service for Debbie and her friends at the Youth Evangelical Revival Ministry. Hands lifted in praise, voices raised in deep exaltation, heads bowed in adoration, an atmosphere drenched in worship. Everyone was in total awe of his Maker. Now we bow down and worship. Yeah. Song could be heard from outside the auditorium. The worship section ended, and then the praise section commenced almost immediately. Everyone seemed excited and couldn't wait to flow into the rhythm of the music. They chanted happily, swaying their bodies from side to side. Debbie and her friends sat in different rows, but weren't out of sight to one another. They had come in at different times that Sunday morning. Although not behind the scheduled time, they weren't just fortunate to secure their seats in the same row. The usher directed them to 3 different emphases unpremeditated. The jubilation went on and they were deeply immersed in the act of worship. They smiled at one another whenever they made eye contact. They were indeed having a good time. After a 2-hour exhilarating sermon by the youth coordinator, members gave their offerings in colorful bags brought by the ushers. Then the first-timers were welcomed in grand style, a style peculiar to the Youth Evangelical and Revival Ministry. Debbie and her friends had joined the church on a Tuesday, the day the general Bible study was usually held. They had been warmly received by the pastor and the entire members of the church. The trio had made their interest in joining various departments in church's workforce known to the pastor after the service on that day, and he had introduced them to each department coordinator. Debbie and Ada had been subsequently introduced to the other workers during their weekly departmental meeting, except for Tino, who had not attended any departmental meeting. The announcement was read, and the youth coordinator announced the end of the service. We will now bring the service to a close. Bro Bayo, please come over, he said as he beckoned on the prayer coordinator. Bro Bayo strode high to the pulpit. He looked very calmly in his black blazers. Let's bow our heads for prayers, he said in his usual booming voice. The service came to a close and members dispersed. The church workers converged at their respective departmental meeting points for their meetings. I would like to commend all of you for your dedication and selflessness towards your service to God. God bless you really good, the Bible study coordinator, Bro Theophilus said. I particularly wish to welcome our new member, Sister Tinu. Sister Tinu, please stand up, he said as he introduced Tinu to the rest of the members. Tinu stood up, smiled confidently, and introduced herself. I pray you will not be tired of serving him, he admonished as he rounded off the meeting. Let's not forget our meeting tomorrow. Please endeavor to be punctual, Bro Theophilus reminded. The Bible study department held their weekly meetings on Monday, the day before the church's general Bible study. This was to enable them to prepare adequately for the church's Bible study section, which was solely anchored by the department. Have a nice day, Sister Ada. We hope to see you on Wednesday. The Lord is your strength, Sister Mary, the drama coordinator, said to Ada as she saw her off to the church's exit door. Okay, ma, thank you so much. Bye, Ada replied, blushing. Sister Debbie, you are here already, Robayo asked Debbie on that Thursday evening. He seemed impressed by what he saw. Debbie smiled while avoiding eye contact with him. Are you the only one around? Robayo asked. No, Sister Joanna is here too. She probably went out to... Oh, here she comes, Debbie said as she sighted Sister Joanna coming towards them. Good evening, sir, she greeted Robayo. You're welcome, Sister Joanna, Robayo replied, smiling softly. Robayo engaged Sister Joanna in a conversation while Debbie busied herself with the arrangement of the chairs. Debbie had come before the meeting time to help put things in place and help with the preparation activities. She had seen Sister Joanna called up in a corner of the auditorium, observing her quiet time and making intercessory prayers for the soon-to-start prayer champion meeting. Debbie had tried exchanging pleasantries with her, but she had given a cold attitude. Sister Joanna was an active member of the prayer champion team. She was always around for all their meetings and usually came before the scheduled time. She seldom interacted with the other members of the unit. She seemed to have a holier-than-thou attitude and often wore a supercilious look. Although she seemed qualified to be the assistant prayer coordinator in some ramifications, maybe because of her fervency and commitment, but the other members had complained she was not exhibiting the fruits of the Spirit enough to take up the position. Bro Bayo, we need to wait more on the Lord for his leadership and choice. Let's not be carried away by physical appearance and deceitful stunts, one of the devoted prayer champion team members had protested when Sister Joanna's name came up as a prospective assistant prayer coordinator. It was 4 p.m., time to start the prayer meeting. Almost all the members were around. The meeting commenced with an open prayer, after which Sister Joanna gave a short exhortation. A series of intercessory prayers were made, and members were deeply touched by their spiritual encounters. Everybody laughed loudly, obviously enjoying the romp. The drama rehearsal seems to be going very well. Ada had been amusing them with her sense of humor. She was a great actor. The drama department was a very lively one. The members were known for their wit and raw talent. Although very demanding, it was the department most church members admired and longed to be part of. Ada had joined the department because she had thought it perfect to suit her personality type. I'm an extrovert and very expressive. That is where I belong, she had told her friends on one of those occasions we were together. Sister Mary, the drama coordinator, was visibly pleased with Ada's participation and membership. She had been showing interest in her since the day she joined the department. Tinu, on the other hand, wasn't having it all that rosy in her new department. This was simply because of the in-depth scriptural knowledge one needs to possess as a member of the Bible study unit. Tinu wasn't that deep in the scriptures. She would digest several scriptural verses prior to their meeting time to at least fit in and make valid contributions. Although she thought this may help her spiritual growth in so many ways, she couldn't argue that she wasn't finding it funny. The end of chapter 3.
End of this episode. Thanks for listening to the BIM Hunter Hive podcast. See you in the next episode.
You can get a copy of this book by contacting the author via our social media handle BIMHunter_Hive for Instagram, and for Facebook simply search BIMHunterHive and you'll be able to get in touch with the author. We look forward to hearing from you.